You got close to something good. And then you destroyed it. Not all at once, not in a single obvious moment. Gradually, through a series of choices that each seemed reasonable on their own. Through the slow withdrawal, the manufactured conflict, the invisible wall that went up right when someone was getting close enough to matter. Or maybe it was the opportunity you let expire without pursuing, the relationship you kept at arm's length until the other person gave up, the goal you were 40% of the way toward before you found a reason to stop, the version of your life that was starting to become real before something in you quietly pulled the plug. And now you are sitting with the aftermath, wondering, not for the first time, what is wrong with you? Why do you keep doing this? Why, when something actually good arrives, when something real and worthwhile and genuinely possible is right in front of you, does some part of you find a way to make it go away? Not consciously. Never consciously. You do not sit down and decide to ruin things, but the results keep arriving as if you did. Here is what you need to hear. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not someone with a fundamental character flaw that makes good things impossible. You are someone running a pattern, a very old pattern, built for very specific reasons. That made complete sense at a specific point in your life. And that pattern, not you, is what has been making the decisions. Understanding it is what changes it. That is what this is about. Here is the first thing you need to understand. Self-sabotage is not irrational. This is the piece most people never hear. They approach their own self-sabotage as if it is a malfunction, a bug in the system, something going wrong. But from the nervous system's perspective, self-sabotage is not going wrong at all. It is doing exactly what it was built to do. Here is how this works. Your brain's primary function is not to make you happy. It is not to help you succeed. It is not to help you build the life you consciously want. Its primary function is to keep you safe. And safe, to the brain, is defined by one thing. What is familiar? The familiar, to the nervous system, is safe. Because you survived it. Because you know what it requires. Because the outcomes, even if they are not good, are at least predictable. The unfamiliar is different. The unfamiliar to the nervous system is uncertain, and uncertainty historically was genuinely dangerous. So when something good arrives, something new, something that represents a genuine upgrade in how your life feels, the nervous system does not automatically celebrate. It raises an alert, because this is unfamiliar territory, because the outcomes are unknown. Because what comes with this good thing is uncertainty about whether you can hold it, whether it will last, whether you are the kind of person it actually belongs to. And the response to that alert is the one the brain has always used. Get back to the familiar. Make it go away. Back to what you know. Even if what you know is not good, even if what you know is lonely or small or painful in its own specific ways, at least it is predictable, and predictable feels safe, even when it is not. But here is what you are missing about where the familiar was set. The baseline of what feels normal to you was not set recently. It was set early, in the environments you were in before you had any say in what those environments looked like, in the relationships that defined, for you, what love was supposed to feel like, what safety was supposed to look like, what you were supposed to expect from people, from life, from your own possibilities. And for many people, the baseline that got set in those early environments was lower than it should have been. Love that came with conditions, safety that was inconsistent. Environments where good things were temporary or uncertain or followed by something harder. Homes where the other shoe was always about to drop. Relationships where getting too comfortable meant being caught off guard. Situations where needing something or wanting something or hoping for something was followed often enough by disappointment that the hoping itself started to feel dangerous. And the nervous system, learning from all of that, drew a conclusion. Good things do not last. Getting close means getting hurt. Wanting something is how you set yourself up for losing it. The safest position is to not need things, not get attached, not let anything matter too much. That conclusion became the baseline, and the baseline became normal. And normal became the territory the nervous system works to return you to every single time something good arrives. Here is where it gets really important. Self-sabotage is not one thing. It has different forms, different faces, and the form it takes in your life is connected directly to where the baseline was set and what it was set in response to. The first form is unconscious withdrawal. This is the version that is hardest to see because it does not look like sabotage. It looks like getting busy, getting distracted, having less time, gradually becoming less available without ever making a decision to pull back. The relationship was going well, and you started responding to messages a little slower. The project was gaining momentum, and you found other urgent things that needed attention. The friendship was deepening, and you canceled a few times in a row without quite knowing why. No dramatic decision, no obvious choice, just a slow, quiet fading until the other person gives up, until the momentum dies, until the opportunity closes, and then something in you relaxes, back to familiar territory. The discomfort of the good thing is gone. The uncertainty is resolved. The threat is no longer present. The relief you feel in that moment is real. It is genuine. It is the nervous system signaling, we are back where we know how to be. And that relief, however temporary, is what reinforces the pattern, because relief feels like the right move, like you did something that worked, even though what you actually did was return to a baseline that is smaller than what you deserve. The second form is conflict creation. This one runs differently. Instead of withdrawing, it starts a fight. When things are going well, when the intimacy is deepening or the situation is getting more real, something happens. An argument emerges from almost nothing. A sensitivity gets triggered. Something small becomes something large. A comment lands wrong, and instead of letting it pass, it becomes the opening for a conflict that escalates past anything the original moment warranted. And the conflict creates distance, which is what the nervous system was looking for. The closeness was getting uncomfortable. The intimacy was moving into territory that felt uncertain and therefore threatening, and the conflict pushed it back. Restored a familiar distance, put familiar dynamics back in place. And again, there is a relief. Not conscious, not chosen, just the automatic signal from the nervous system that says we are back on familiar ground. The relationship survives the conflict. But something shifted. The other person is a little more careful now, a little more guarded, a little less sure that what is being built here is stable, which is, in a painful way, the familiar dynamic, the one where closeness is uncertain, where the ground is a little unsteady, where you have to stay alert because things can shift. Exactly what the nervous system expected, exactly what it was always preparing for, exactly what it was always preparing for. The third form is the one that costs the most. It is the self-sabotage of success. This is the form that shows up in careers, in goals. In the pursuit of something you have wanted for a long time, you are close, genuinely close, closer than you have ever been. The thing is within reach. And then something happens. You stop doing the thing that was working. You introduce a complication that was not necessary. You make a decision that seems reasonable in the moment but moves you away from what you are building. You procrastinate past a crucial deadline. You push away the person who could have helped. You make yourself less visible right when visibility was starting to pay off, and the opportunity passes. And you tell yourself a story about timing, about circumstances, about the world not being ready or the situation not being right. But underneath the story is something you might not want to look at. The success felt threatening, not because it was bad, because it was unfamiliar, because succeeding at this level would have made you someone different from who you have always been, someone with a different identity, different relationships, different expectations placed on you, a different kind of visibility and identity. Even an identity built around struggle and limitation is familiar. Success would have required you to leave something behind, to become someone new, to exist in a version of your life that did not feel like home yet. And the nervous system, not willing to leave what is familiar for what is merely wanted, found a way to prevent the departure. Now here is the midpoint truth, and it is the one that changes everything if you let it land. You are not afraid of failure. You are afraid of success. Specifically, you are afraid of what success would require of you, who you would have to become, what you would have to leave behind, how different life would look, what people would expect from you, whether you could sustain it, whether you would lose the people who knew the previous version of you, whether becoming who you want to be means losing who you have been. These fears are almost never spoken out loud. They sound irrational. They sound like the opposite of a real problem. Who is afraid of good things? But the fears are real. They are specific. They are operating, and until they are acknowledged, they will keep running the pattern from underground. Because the nervous system does not need to be rational to be powerful. It just needs to be faster than the conscious mind, and it is always faster. Here is the thing about worthiness, because this is the layer underneath all of it, underneath the withdrawal, underneath the conflict creation, underneath the sabotage of success. There is a belief, a quiet, foundational, rarely examined belief, that this level of good is not for you. Not stated that plainly, not usually in words at all, but present, in the hesitation before pursuing something, in the discomfort when something goes better than expected, in the specific restlessness that arrives when life is going well and is replaced by relief when something goes wrong. The belief says, people like me do not get to have things like this. The belief says, if this is going well, something is about to go wrong. The belief says, I do not know how to be someone whose life looks like this. The belief says, the version of me that has this is not someone I recognize. And the belief, because it is old, and because it runs below conscious awareness, and because it was installed before you had the capacity to question it, feels like the truth, like an observation about reality, rather than a conclusion drawn from a specific set of early experiences. But it is not the truth. It is a story built by a version of you that was working with very limited information in a very specific environment. During the period of your life when the evidence available genuinely suggested that good things were uncertain and connection was risky and wanting more was dangerous. The story made sense then. It does not fit now. And a story that does not fit can be revised. Let us talk about the relationship between self-sabotage and attachment, because for a significant number of people, the self-sabotage is most active in close relationships. And the reason for that is specific. When you attach to someone, when you let them matter, when the relationship becomes real enough that losing it would hurt, you have created a vulnerability, a real one. The risk of loss is now present in a way it was not before the attachment. And for people who learned early that close relationships are unpredictable, that love is conditional, that people who matter tend to leave or disappoint or withdraw, that vulnerability is not just uncomfortable. It is threatening. So the nervous system looks for a way to resolve the threat, And the fastest available resolution is to create the distance before the other person can, to be the one who leaves before being left, to manufacture the problem before it arrives on its own, to make yourself unavailable before they discover a reason to go. This is not a conscious strategy. Nobody sits down and thinks, I will push this person away so they cannot hurt me first. But the behavior produces that outcome regardless. And the outcome, painful as it is familiar. It confirms what was always expected, that closeness does not last, that people leave, that it was right to be careful. And the next time someone gets close, the nervous system runs the same prediction, same pattern, same outcome, same painful confirmation, same relief at being back on familiar ground. Here is something about the people you tend to choose. Because the self-sabotage does not just affect what you do in relationships, it affects who you choose to be in relationships, people who cannot fully commit, people who are emotionally unavailable in specific ways, people whose love comes with conditions or inconsistency, people who keep you at a slight distance even when they are present, people who reproduce, in some form, the dynamic that originally set your baseline. This is not a coincidence, and it is not a character flaw. It is the nervous system doing what the nervous system does, moving toward what is familiar. The emotionally unavailable person feels familiar. The dynamic of pursuing someone who is not quite fully there feels familiar. The cycle of closeness and distance feels familiar, and familiar, to the nervous system, registers as safe, even when it is not, even when it reproduces the exact dynamic that was the source of the wound in the first place. The nervous system is not trying to protect you from being hurt. It is trying to put you somewhere it knows how to navigate. And where it knows how to navigate is the terrain that matches the original environment, which is exactly the terrain that produced the wound. Seeing this is hard, but seeing it is what makes the pattern visible enough to change. Now, let us talk about what actually interrupts the self-sabotage, not in theory, in the actual moment when the pattern is about to run. The first thing that interrupts it is recognition, not after the fact. In the moment, the ability to see, while the pattern is beginning to run, what is actually happening. This requires learning to recognize your personal early signals. For some people, it is a specific kind of restlessness that arrives when things are going well. For some, it is an irritability with the person or the situation that has no clear cause. For some, it is the sudden appearance of very convincing reasons why this is not the right time or the right thing or the right person. For some, it is the urge to start a fight or to disappear or to find something wrong. These signals are specific to you. They show up consistently, and they arrive before the sabotage, not after. Learning to recognize them is the first intervention. Because recognition creates a gap, a small space between the beginning of the pattern and the action the pattern wants to take. And in that gap, something is possible that was not possible without it. The ability to ask, what is actually happening here? Not what story the nervous system is telling. What is actually happening? Is this genuinely a problem with this situation or this person? Or is this the familiar alarm going off because something good is getting close? That question does not stop the feeling, but it changes what you do with it. The second thing that actually helps is learning to tolerate the discomfort of good things. This sounds strange, but here is what it means. Good things for people who have set a low baseline produce discomfort, not the discomfort of something being wrong, the discomfort of something being unfamiliar. The relationship that is genuinely healthy, where the other person is consistent and available and not playing games, can feel boring to someone calibrated for an anxious dynamic. The job that is going well and feels sustainable can feel less alive than the one that was chaotic and consuming. The period of genuine stability can feel like something is missing rather than like rest. This is the baseline speaking. The discomfort of good things is not evidence that the good things are wrong. It is evidence that your nervous system has not yet updated to the new normal. And the update happens not by feeling comfortable immediately, by staying with the discomfort rather than resolving it through sabotage. Every time you tolerate the unfamiliar good thing and it does not destroy you, the nervous system collects new information. Good things are survivable. Good things can last. Good things do not have to be made to go away. That information, accumulated through experience, is what changes the baseline. Not immediately, not all at once, but genuinely. The third thing is the most important and the most difficult. It requires looking honestly at the belief underneath the pattern. The belief about your own worthiness, not the intellectual understanding that worthiness is not conditional, the actual felt sense of whether or not good things belong to you. Because intellectual understanding and embodied belief are different things. You can understand that you deserve good things and still feel when good things arrive that something is off, that you do not quite belong in this version of your life, that the other shoe is about to drop, that this is not sustainable. That felt sense is the belief operating, and the felt sense does not change through understanding. It changes through experience, specifically through the experience of receiving good things, staying with them rather than pushing them away, and discovering that they do not destroy you. That the relationship can be healthy and you can stay in it. That the success can be yours and you can hold it. That the good thing can last and you are someone it can last for. Every experience of that is an update to the belief. Small, incremental, but real, and the belief, updated enough times, begins to feel different, less like borrowed time, more like something that belongs to you. Here is something about the patterns in your relationships specifically, because the self-sabotage in relationships has a specific quality that is worth understanding clearly. When you are in a relationship where the other person is consistently kind, consistently present, consistently choosing you, something uncomfortable can happen. Not gratitude, not relief, a low-grade anxiety. Because the consistency is unfamiliar. Because waiting for the other shoe to drop becomes its own kind of occupation. Because when someone is reliably good to you and the disaster you were braced for does not arrive, the bracing does not automatically stop. You stay braced for longer than the situation warrants. And while you are braced, the relationship is receiving a version of you that is slightly unavailable, slightly defended, slightly somewhere else. Not out of unkindness, out of the nervous system running its old program in a new situation, the program that says, this cannot last, so do not fully arrive, the program that says, being fully here means being fully hurt when this ends, the program that says, keep something in reserve, keep something back, do not let this be everything. And the person on the other side of that, the person who is genuinely trying, eventually feels it. The slight distance, the occasional unavailability that has no clear cause, the sense that something is being held back, even when everything looks fine, and they do not always know what to do with it. Some will ask, some will adjust, some will eventually decide that what is being offered is not quite enough. And when they leave, the nervous system says, see, I told you it would not last. When actually what did not last was not the relationship, it was the full arrival of the person inside it, the arrival that the nervous system kept preventing, the arrival that would have changed everything if it had been allowed. Here is what the life on the other side of self-sabotage actually looks like. Not the perfection, not the permanent absence of the old pattern, something more honest than that. It looks like being able to receive something good without immediately starting to dismantle it, like letting a relationship be as real as it actually is, without manufacturing problems to make it feel more familiar, like letting a success land, sit with it, claim it, without immediately shrinking it back to a size that feels safer, like being in a moment that is good and actually being in it, not managing it, not watching it from a slight distance, not waiting for it to end. In it, present, arrived, actually here. And what happens when you actually arrive in the good things, when the nervous system finally receives enough evidence that good things are survivable and can be held, is that the relief you used to feel when things fell apart starts to feel different. It starts to feel like loss. Because now you know what the things were worth. Now you have let them matter enough to feel their weight. And that is how you know the pattern is changing. Not when the self-sabotage disappears entirely, when the loss of the good thing finally, genuinely hurts, because something that hurt to lose was something you finally let yourself have. Here is where we leave this, not with instructions, not with a system, with the honest truth that makes the change possible. The pattern is not you. The self-sabotage is not your character. It is not evidence of a fundamental flaw. It is not proof that good things were never meant to be yours. It is a protection strategy built by a version of you that needed it, in an environment that required it, at a time when the tools available were limited and the options were narrow, and the best available move was to stay familiar, stay small, stay in territory you knew how to navigate. That version of you was not wrong. They were doing what made sense, but you are not that version anymore. You have more options now, more resources, more capacity to tolerate the unfamiliar, more evidence, if you look honestly at your own life, that good things can last, that you can hold them, that you are someone they can belong to. The baseline can move, not by deciding to feel differently, by staying in the good thing long enough to discover that it does not have to go away, by tolerating the discomfort of unfamiliar goodness long enough for the nervous system to update its prediction, by catching the pattern early enough to ask, is this real, or is this the old alarm going off in new territory? And then, when the answer is old alarm, choosing to stay anyway. That choice made once does not rewrite everything, but made again and again and again, it adds to a record that says, I stayed. The good thing did not destroy me. I am still here, and the good thing is still here too. That record is what changes the baseline. That record is what builds a new normal. A normal where good things are not threatening, where closeness does not have to be dismantled before it becomes real, where success does not have to be undermined before it becomes yours, where something genuinely, simply, quietly good can just be allowed to exist in your life because you let it, because you finally stopped protecting yourself from the things you actually wanted, because the pattern ran and you saw it and you chose differently. One time, and then again, until staying became more familiar than leaving, until good things started to feel like home.